Hi, I'm John Miglosh for the Wisconsin DMA and the International Society for Strategic Marketing. Well, first story up is that Toys R Us is set to open new stores. And before you get too excited, first of all, they're only opening a half a dozen stores, which is almost funny, but a half a dozen stores compared to the 700 that there used to be. Plus, they're roughly a third of the size of the old stores. Plus, they're using a consignment inventory model, which means that they only pay you after the sale and usually a little after that. Like for a while, I don't know if it's still the case, but Walmart was 120 days after the sale. And so it's basically running a bank, and it's the idea is that we can take advantage of manufacturers because there's no other toy-based retailer out there. And the big question is Amazon's sales of toys went up 30%. This author and also Walmart, Target swooped in. The interesting part I thought was that they even mention Amazon as an important player when Amazon is only about 10% of retail sales, and closing down Toys R Us cut toy sales by 2%. So Amazon in total, not their toy sales, but their total is barely as big as Toys R Us was when they closed down. So, that's why the news is distorted. That's why you want to watch this show. Okay, today I want to talk about generational marketing. And first of all, I wanted to note that boomers are not as likely to be digital buyers as regular consumers or millennials. Okay, so that's not a big surprise, right? Though when I read the statistics on online shopping and that so many people are buying from their phone, it just amazes me. Because it only works if you have the app and if you already have the credit card in. You can't, at least I can't hardly. I can type it in, yeah, sure, but it's not going to be typed correctly. So for me, yeah, I can understand it. I like PayPal, and as long as you're keyed into PayPal, that's great. So, it said that 55 and older said they used Apple Pay or Starbucks payment, and this is one of them. For retirees, especially for boomers who are retirees, the time-saving features of digital shopping are somewhat irrelevant. In fact, going to the store may hold appeal for older boomers as an occasion for getting out of the house and socializing. Well, I'm obviously out of the house, but I thought that was a little bit insightful. At the same time, I wanted to put up a big caution. Here's an article about why targeting millennials might not be such a hot idea. Okay, this is from a while ago. Oh, I guess not. Just a couple weeks, 2 weeks ago. But what they're saying now is that, yeah, the millennials born between 1981 and 1996, that's all my kids, are 83 million population and the largest single consumer group out there. We'll talk about that later as a single consumer group. And so everybody has to go find them, and that's the key. But what they're finding now is that we've generalized them as a certain type of person, but the reality is when the rubber meets the road, companies are starting to understand, wow, we're not getting the ROI we thought we might. There was a presentation by Talbot's at NAMOA a couple of years ago, and they said, we were going to go after the millennials, we were going to go into digital, and the heck with the catalog. And they basically, they go under? Well, no, but they got a new set of owners, let's just say. And the new set of owners brought the catalog back, and they're doing toasty well now. But they weren't for a long time. So be cautious. Just because your average customer is, 50 plus doesn't necessarily mean you're going under, right? Okay. What they found was, and I'm not sure about this, the net worth of millennials, that doesn't make sense. Some of them weren't born in 1995. They didn't have any net worth. But this is a mislabeled graph. What they mean is that the net worth of under 35s, people under 35, has dropped 35%, adjusted for inflation. So basically, it stayed about the same probably, and hasn't gone up, even though other people have caught up. The millennials are strapped for cash. Since 1996, the average net worth of consumers under 35. See, that's what they meant. They didn't mean millennials. That makes any sense. So we've got this misplaced faith in millennials. The Obama White House says millennials are a technologically connected, diverse, and tolerant generation. The priority that millennials place on creativity and innovation augurs well for future economic growth, while their unprecedented enthusiasm for technology has the potential to bring change to the traditional economic institutions as well as the labor market. Now, never mind, they're using technology that the boomers invented. We're the ones with the appetite for technology. It just took us a while to get, venture funding. So our kids, my youngest especially, got weaned on or got potty trained on the computer. That's the only thing that really motivated him. But that doesn't mean he invented computers. But what it turns out is that while they spend $600 billion a year and are on track to spend $1.4 trillion by 2020, they're strapped for cash. Their main two expenses are housing, because when they got out of college in 1990 or 2008, they couldn't get a loan because nobody could get a loan. And so they rented, and they have a penchant for living in cities, and they are still paying off their student loans. At least my kids, although luckily for them, Dad paid for most of it. So mostly they don't have student loans, and I'm proud of them for being as frugal about that as they were. Yeah, student debt. So not only did student debt burden this generation, but because of easy money, colleges didn't have to compete and could raise their prices willy-nilly without any restraint of capitalism because of government funding. And, few people realize that. When you fund something, you raise the price, right? That's what's happened in medicine. That's what's happened in college education. So they're renting. They like the cities. They have high rent. I'm staggered by the amount of rent that you can pay in cities. So I'm going to start buying rental properties. Don't tell anybody. The big elephant in the room is they have $1.5 trillion in student debt loan. Okay, so now let's go over and talk about generational differences for a while. It's actually a big, huge mistake. That's what Jerry Thomas says. Every 10 to 15 years, a new generational cohort is going to transform and revolutionize American culture. And we might miss it if it were not for all the book authors, pundits, marketing consultants, advertising gurus, and communication executives who heighten our awareness of and shape our minds to the significance of each new generation. But it's confirmation bias. Cohorts don't really exist, so don't even talk about the millennials, really. There's more differences between millennials than there is similarity, and the differences mirror the U.S. population. Okay? The differences within and among are as great as the differences within and among the general population of adults. Okay? The marketing group, anyway, the Federal Reserve published a report in late 2018, contrary to the Obama administration, said millennials are very similar to their parents in attitudes and behaviors. All my kids were in church on Sunday, some more eager about it than others. Only they're poorer. They live at home. Yeah, a couple of mine live at home because of medical challenges right now, but hopefully we'll get them out of there. They've been out. Some go out, some come back. But, that's true for me. Okay? And they don't have a lot of cash. The generational differences are but a thin veneer atop oceans of cultural similarities across the age groups. Okay? My kids call me and ask me how to repair their water heaters. Now, the big thing is that you want to search for truth based on objective research evidence. Now, what's the best way to do that? Direct marketing, because we let the market tell us how to market our products. And in that spirit, I just want to mention Mark Ritson's excellent take on Dove's Real Beauty campaign. In the original article, it shows a woman about 60-ish with gray hair, and Dove decided they had the worst, most discouraging and depressing data that Mark had ever seen, and a lot of it was about that only one kind of face and look was beautiful. And so they took years of showing other women in context and looking beautiful. And, that's the opposite of generational marketing. Oh, by the way, I mean, they took age into account, but they marketed across the board. Now, Mark has an excellent video out. I highly encourage you. It's at Marketing Week, and that's it down here, marketingweek.com, and Mark does an excellent job. Anyway, so be careful about millennial marketing, and with that in mind, we should also mention that you should think occasionally about print, right? And I'm going to be at the print event in Minneapolis the first week of August. Information is up there on wdma.org. There's a special deal for members of the Wisconsin DMA, so I encourage you to join. We have as many or more members out of state as in state. I'm John Miglosh. Like and share. Have a great day.